A couple of people in the comments of this video were asking if I could make a tutorial on how I played that. So I'm going to do that right now. Let's start with some backstory. I got this plugin for this video. I was just kind of messing around with it on the factory presets and I stumbled upon this one. It's the Dark Fantasy preset. I think it sounds really cool. And so I got to a bit of noodling on it, and eventually I came to this kind of chord progression. That sounds kind of alright, but it can be better. Eventually I came to the chords that we see in the video. So the first one, just a standard E minor. The second chord, A minor, A minor. And then the third chord is kind of a variation on that, where you kind of lift off your index finger, so you're playing the three open strings on the top. So then you strum it once. Just kind of different. Third chord, fourth chord, counting is hard, is then this, which is B, I think. B major something chord. I don't know. It's got the C here as well, so. So, barring with the index all the way across. 7th fret with the ring finger. Wait, that's 9th fret. Barring all the way across, 7th fret with your index. 9th fret A string with your ring finger. 10th fret D string with your pinky finger. Middle finger goes there, wherever there is. 8th fret on the G string. There you go. I know how to play guitar, I promise. Eventually I kind of chopped them down into these chords, which are all the MIDI notes that I used for the multi-voicer, and on their own they sound like this. Not too bad. Now for the actual multi-voice part itself, I did some noodling with the Dark Fantasy preset, and I eventually came up with a more basic version of what ended up in the video. So it's eventually I did put it up an octave, so it's played. And this is what just the multi-voice part sounds like on its own. You get the idea. So I'll show you basically how that's done. We start with, helps if you turn the volume up. So it starts with 7th fret A string, simple. Slide up and down from it, sounds cool. Slide up to the 7th fret on the A string, and slide back down. Simple. A couple of dead notes. Muted low string, just sounds good. Muted at both ends, so muted at this end and muted at this end. that's slide up to the 10th fret on the D string, then down to the 9th, then down to the 4th. And kind of another bit of a dead note with just doing that. If you play slap bass, you know this. You know this move. Then another chug on the low E string. Then I do a little bit of a Scott LePage slidey thing. I think that's what he calls it. So back to the 10th, back up to the 10th fret, 10th to the 9th with your middle finger. Make sure you do this with your middle finger, and then index on the 7th. So ring finger up to the 10th, middle finger on the 9th, and then index on the 7th, slide it up to the 9th. Just sounds kind of interesting. And then we go to 10th, 9th, 7th, 5th, then 4th. We're just going down the scale again. E harmonic minor, just noodle around in it and you'll probably eventually get to what I'm playing. So that's when we get to the 4th, hammer on the 5th again, and then hammer on and pull off on the 5th. Then pick the 7th of the A string, and then the 6th of the A string, and that's what gives it a harmonic minor. Index finger all the way up to the 10th and then back to the 9th. And we're back where we started. Another little variation. 10th of the ring finger, 9th of the middle finger, index on the 7th. Then middle finger slides up to the 10th, and index goes back on the 9th. Bit of vibrato, never hurt anybody. Everything you do, slide up to it, and slide down from it. It's super easy to do, and it makes it sound cooler. Once we finish with that, we go back to this, but it's slightly different. And we finish it there. What we then do is so harmonic, 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 hybrid picked, because you should learn hybrid picking. It's fun and it's fairly simple. I use ring finger on the high E, middle finger on the B string, pick the G string, and then middle finger on the and then middle finger on the B string again. So and my goal with this was to have those two harmonics ringing out together because that dissonance just sounds cool to me. So once again, from the top of this last bar. So at some point I came to the realization that it couldn't just be that as the whole song. So I made the chords that I put into the multi-voicer and just double tracked them on guitar and played around a little bit. So that then goes with the outro section. So I'll show you how to do that. Again, E minor, Same chords as we was doing earlier. Then for the finishing move, I like to call it, we go, it's a lot of hybrid picking in this. So it goes middle finger on the D string, pick the low E string, middle finger on the G string, pick the A string, then middle finger on the B string, ring finger on the high E, and then back to the B string with the middle finger. So with the chord, it sounds like this. So again, B string, B string, A string, that then gets repeated again. That whole section gets repeated. Once we come to this last chord again for the second time, last two notes are slightly different. It's harmonics instead of just standard fretted notes. So you'll notice here with the harmonic, I did the old Tim Henson trick from, I believe it's Playing God, that video that he shows this off. But you basically copy and paste it, the little flex section that you want, or what I did was I tracked it again because I hate myself. Set the warp to complex pro, pitch shift it an octave up, and then set the formants all the way down. It's also quite low in the mix and dead in the center as well. So on its own, that sounds like this. Just a little bit of spice to add it in. I also did that with the last harmonics, which we'll get to now. So then it goes once more through the chords, same as the first time. The final time through, when we finish on this chord, we do 4 harmonics this time, and it goes 7, 7, 5, 7, and again, trying to get those harmonics to ring out at the same time, because dissonance. I play it sometimes index finger on lift, you just kind of lift up your index finger, put it over the 7th fret, and move it to the 5th fret, and then ring finger onto the 7th fret. You can also play it with just your ring finger on the 7th fret. Sometimes I play it like that. Sometimes I play it like this. You can do whatever you want. You can play it like this, or you can play it like this. Either way, doesn't matter. It sounds the same. Who cares, really? So that's the outro section. At this point, I decided, okay, I'm going to need something in front of it as well. So what I did was I just basically copied the structure from Tim Henson's Waves, the multi-voicer tutorial, which is how I learned to do all this stuff. What he does is just arpeggiate the chords that he's using in the multi-voicer in the front, and that's the intro. So I did the same thing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that sounds something like this. First chord is an octave up from where it originally is. So it's an E minor, again, just on the 12th fret instead of open. Except, like Tim Henson's Waves, we are starting with 3 notes, palm muted, and then strumming the rest of the notes. That's the first chord. Second chord is a little different. I think it's a different voicing of the same chord. of this chord, which is an A minor if I remember correctly. Music theory is for nerds. So the second chord that I strum through is that. Then a variation, I just lift off my middle finger from the 13th fret here. Second pair of chords. Then I go down to the original last chord. Same pattern again. 1, 2, 3. Easy. Then just plucking the last two notes. Then go all the way down to the same chord. All the way down to the first original chord. Except arpeggiated in that same way. And then the original chord for the second two things, same chord as before. B minor, A minor, sorry. And just lift off your index finger from the bottom three strings. And then same chord again for the last one. Only difference here is instead of fretted notes, harmonics. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Only thing left is the bass line, which I added in MIDI, which just sounds like this. Sounds alright. Goes with the multi-voice part. Goes with the outro chords. Everything works. Only thing I did was I left the multi-voice part without a bass line for the first half of it, just because I think it sounds cooler. So I'll show you that now. So that's the whole song. I hope you found that useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. God help us all.